I've been in real estate for a little over 20 years. I started as a real estate appraiser, and then I got into flipping properties, property investment. I'm pretty local, so my market's limited to what I do buy and sell. And if the numbers just don't work, I don't stress it. Majority of my leads were off of MLS. When he told me he did like Google ad and he gets people calling him, maybe this is another avenue. The education I got from all these other methods of how to buy these properties. In fact, one of the deal that I took on that we closed on was not one I would normally buy and flip, but the Sub2 was what saved me. So that's why that deal makes sense now. Before REI Automated, I picked up one that I was going to flip, and now I'm doing the rental. Now I have 3 different things. The one that I got, the Sub2, we plan on doing a wrap. We did the one that was Sub2 about 3 weeks ago. We closed on that one. We just cleared 20 dumpsters of trash out of this house. The value of the property is around 350 to 375.
And how much was the mortgage?
Right at 200. Instead of trying to renovate it and flip it, do owner financing on it. I had about 330. Around
they
330.
Owe you 330. You owe the bank 200. There's equity of $130,000
Correct.
in this deal.
And remember, you talked me into keeping that rental too. You forgot about that one?
What is going to be the cash flow on that one?
About $3,500 a month. Now I have more tools in my pocket versus just buying flips. You guys help. Like I said, those have all been flip deals if it wasn't for you guys.
Guys, welcome to another REI Automated Client Highlight. I'm here with my buddy Ken Bunn. Man, I was going to say how we got introduced, but I'm going to go ahead and save that for people who are just in our group. Ken is awesome. He's had some really good wins, really experienced investor, frankly, even before joining REI Automated. And you've had some really good wins that Nate let me know. Keith, you should talk to Ken, because since joining us, you've done quite a bit of deals, and you also have a really good story that I want to ask you about. Okay. So this is going to be for people who are both already in REI Automated, as well as people who are kind of on the fence about joining. But before we get into kind of like what you're doing right now, I kind of want to start from the beginning. So first, how long have you been doing real estate? When did you start? And what has been kind of your specialty that you're working into now?
So I've been in real estate for a little over 20 years. I started as a real estate appraiser back in 2005. And then about 12 years ago, I got into flipping properties, property investment. So I've been in it for a while, and so it's been great. It's been a good journey. I'm still doing it, so probably would do it for a little bit longer, God willing.
Let's talk about right before you joined REI Automated. So you actually found us through one of our clients who wholesaled a deal to you. Man, right. I'll go ahead and I'll say it's a little bit racist. But literally, when I hopped on the phone with Ken, he had his video off on our first call, and he just, he has a Southern accent, and then so he said, you said like, "Good afternoon, Keith," or "It's great to meet you," or something like that, and then you turned on your video.
Shocked you, didn't I?
Like, hold on. The accent doesn't
match the face. I hear you.
And so I thought it was a prank. And you know what? Zach withheld this information from me because Ken Bunn that's not like an Asian sounding name.
No, it's actually Ken Bunn. I go by Ken to save all the Americans from having to figure out. But see, before I met you, I never really had a video call with Zach. So Zach don't even know what I am. So it's not.
He did not set me up for. So I thought it was funny as all get out, dude. I was like, "You've got to be kidding me! Are you pranking me right now? Like something isn't
something ain't matching. The audio and the visuals not matching."
It was very funny because I have a lot of calls with people, right? Anyway, so you came in from Zach Wilson, one of our longtime clients. Has been with us for 3.5, 4 years. He wholesaled a deal in
Fayetteville. Yeah, right down the street from me.
Fayetteville, that's right.
Yeah, called me out the blue. Offered me a deal. He was straight up, one of the few wholesalers that I've dealt with that I was very impressed with. No games, and we made it work. And then from there, that's how I got onto you guys.
What sort of deal was that? Was it a rental or was it a fix and flip?
It was a fix and flip. So I work in like 3-4 counties where I'm at now. What happened was he called me out the blue. I think he got me off Investor Base or something. Yeah. Another website, and he said, "Hey man, you still buying?" I said, "Yeah, of course." And here's another wholesaler, because I get phone calls and email all the time. And Zach actually had a good deal, so he gave me the numbers, and I said, "Zach, you're pretty close, man. Your numbers are decent, but you're a little off." And he came back. He's like, "All right, well, I'll let you know if this will work." So he called me back and said, "Yeah, man, will you do it?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." And from there I think once the deal was done was when I asked him. I said, Zach, I said, you mind me asking because have gotten deals off market. Those are usually the best deals. The deals once it hits
Mm-hmm.
MLS, I mean, you lose some of those margins. So
Yeah.
so I was like, well, I kind of picked his brain. He was very honest. He was very open too. And he's like,
Yeah.
man, I do a marketing online too, and I use a company that I work with to help me do these things, CRM tools and everything. And that's how I got onto you guys. I said, well, you mind
Yeah.
sharing? And he was real open. He's like, yeah, no problem, man. I'll put you on them. And if you something you want to do, so that's where it all
So
got started.
tell me about that deal. So did you already sell it?
We did.
Okay.
I bought it from Zach. My numbers were pretty close to what I projected them to be, give or take, 5-10%, how it always happens. But we end up closing on it. I want to say we worked on it about 3 months, 4 months, and then we turned around and just put on the market. It sold within a month, and we walked away
Good.
with a profit. So
Wow.
it worked out.
Especially with the the market how it is right now. That's really fast.
Yeah.
With a month. How much did you end up making on that one?
I want to say we net after commission closing costs about 65,000.
And how much was your assignment fee to Zach?
I don't know what Zach made on it, to be honest with you. And I'm one of those guys, I don't poke at people's business.
Okay.
I don't know what Zach got it from the seller for. But I even did
Wait,
we
did
did a
he
double
double
close.
close it?
I be honest with you, I offer Zach the world. So I said, Zach, look, man, because I know of some wholesalers they go get that short-term loan to do the closing and then
Yeah,
they
yeah,
pay it
yeah.
off. I said, Zach, use my funds. He goes, really? I said, dude, it's already in the bank. It's already the title company has it. He
Right.
goes, well, they're gonna make you sign something. I said, I don't care. I said,
Yeah.
just use my funds. Don't go pay somebody else. I'd rather you keep most of that money than
Yeah.
and he took me
Oh,
up
you
on
were
it.
so
Oh
cute.
man, I mean the money was sitting there, right? I said,
Right.
help a guy out. He's doing what I'm doing. Why would I just pay a lender or have him pay a lender for no reason for 20
Yeah.
minutes? So we did
Yeah.
the double closing. It worked out great. And
Okay.
Zach was happy and I was happy he shared the info with me. So we all win-win.
Yeah. So it's been quite some time, right? He's closed many deals since then.
Yeah.
I think that he originally had a $15,000 assignment created and then renegotiated with the seller and ended up with a $20,000 assignment. So if I'm doing the
Okay,
math
cool.
right, that's $85,000 of margin, right? You got
Correct.
65,000, he got 20,000. Um, it was a good deal. It,
Yeah, I think the reason Zach, I want to say I even offered for him to renovate. I said, Zach, you should just renovate it yourself. And he's like, man, I'm not even in the States. And
yeah,
from what I can tell, it's going to be a decent little renovation. I said, well, you got some foundation issues.
yeah,
So I was very clear. I said, here's what you got to do to fix it. I went out there and looked at the property and I said, here's what you got to do. And Zach just didn't, I don't think he wanted to take on that little project. It was a little too
yeah.
much. So we went in and did it's like a 60-70% remodel, new paint, new floors, new countertops, fixed the foundation, and then redid the bathrooms, all the
Cool.
bathrooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of work for 3 months. Good. So that was your first deal. That was your introduction to REI Automated, was really Zach and the margin that he had built into this. Where were you at in your business? So you've been doing this for 20 years. You started as an appraiser, you said, right?
Correct. Real estate
You're
appraiser. Uh-huh. I'm
you're an
still licensed.
agent as well.
I've
So
been two
you
years
have
agent.
a lot of
Everything real estate.
hats that you're wearing. About how many deals would you say you do per year, or have you done total, whichever you feel comfortable with?
It's up and down with real estate. So sometime when they come in droves. We've done as many as 5 to 6 reno at a time. Sell some, buy some, sell some, buy some, 10 to 12 properties a year. And then we've had last year, which was a little slower. We probably did about 4 or 5 or 6. I can't remember. So it just depends. And I'm pretty local, so my market's limited to what I do buy and sell. And if the
Sure.
numbers just don't work, I don't stress it. But if the deals come, I take it as they come. So,
Yeah, yeah. I
but
actually
been up and down, up and down.
I remember our conversation when you were thinking about coming onto REI Automated, and you were just really forthcoming and saying like, dude, this year has kind of been a tough one. Like last year, my business was twice as big.
Yeah.
And it's actually been a really common theme for 2025 at least, that I'm talking to people, and it's like at first woe is me, my business is down as well. Well, the market kind of sucks
The
here. That's
interest rate. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, the buyers went out there, and then even buying properties, picking up the deals. I guess with more people in the business, and majority of my leads were off of MLS.
Yeah.
And you got more flippers and everybody,
Ooh, boy,
doing
that
it.
makes
So
a
yeah,
really big difference though.
it does.
Right
I want to
now,
say 70-80% of my stuff was off MLS.
oh, yeah,
Yeah,
it just kills your margins and
it
being
does.
able to go direct to seller. I mean, it's kind of early to tell so far. You just started with this direct to seller, but I can pretty confidently say that you will at least double, if not triple, and maybe quadruple your margins on your deals by going direct to seller.
Yeah,
Not
we've had some over the last 12 years that were direct from the seller.
yeah,
Those were the ones that netted the most at the very end. The ones from that I get off MLS or um, they don't. I mean, they make money most of the time, but they're not. The margins aren't quite there. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
It keeps the
So you have
lights
to
on.
do many of them. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, lower margins, higher volume. So now you're doing your own off-market marketing. Uh,
Correct.
Before I get into what you're doing now, Doug, I want to tie up kind of the past. So when you were talking with Zach about this deal, what was the biggest thing that he said to you about me or about REI Automated as a whole that really piqued your interest and kind of pushed you to reach out and say like, hey, maybe REI Automated is a good solution for me?
Well, I've been doing it for over a decade, and same old, same old. You get what you don't get, and if there's another way to do it, I'm always open to that idea.
Yeah.
And when I asked Zach about how he was getting the deals, this was something I haven't done before.
Mm-hmm.
Cold calling, door knocking was not something I was interested in.
No.
Mailers and stuff. I mean, some people do it, but it wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
So when he told me he did like Google ads and stuff like that, and he gets people calling him or asking for more info, I said that's pretty easy. That's instead of me chasing them, maybe then they can chase me for a little bit. So
Yes.
that brought on some ideas of uh, maybe this is another avenue because if I've dropped 50% in activity, acquiring and selling property, maybe this will pick up the other 50%. You
Mhm.
always got to figure out, is there a better way? Is there more way to do it?
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So it was the off-market marketing that intrigued you, and then you hopped on a call with me. Everybody has doubts when
Correct.
they hop on a call with me before, making a big commitment like this because it is costly for many folks. Tell me about that. What fears, what hesitations did you have when you hopped on that call with me? And then obviously you came on board. So what convinced you to move forward with us anyway?
Well, I've been fortunate that, over the years I've done well enough that the amount that you was charging, well, the program was charging, I saw the bigger picture. One deal could have paid that off. So in my
Yeah,
my brain was, if I try this, I get one deal. If it don't work out, the one deal should pay off, will take care of the cost. It's not a big deal.
yeah,
I've
yeah,
lost more than that in other things I've done. So it was more of I guess the time thing for me. Like
yeah.
how much
A
time do I
huge
have?
commitment. Right, right, right. Definitely.
But the cost, I mean, when you're in business for yourself, you got to look at, if you don't do anything, you die slowly. What's that
Yeah,
cost? Versus saying, hey, you know what? This is the cost of doing business.
right, right.
As an agent, I pay my brokers, I pay my broker fees, I pay for MLS. I mean, as an appraiser, I pay for E&O. So there's always a cost to doing business.
Yep.
And this is just one of the things that I figured, you know what? I'm gonna give it a try.
Cool. Once you had made that decision, once you came on board with us, how quickly did you start to see the difference? How quickly, since coming onto the dark side, uh, how fast did you say, wow, like I see, I understand, like this is how it works?
I don't know. You remember? I jumped on those training program, and I'm one of those guys. If I'm committed to something, I try to get it out, get it done. So
Yeah.
I got most of the course done relatively quickly, and I wanted to
Right.
get as fast as I get into the Google ads and get to that level.
Yeah.
So I want to say it took us about a month to get
Okay.
really going, about a month and a half by the time we got our ad managers and stuff on board.
Okay. Cool. That's good. That's fast. So let's talk about the three pillars of REI Automated. pillar number 1 is education. Pillar number 2 is operating system. Pillar number 3 is support. So just, this is not for you. You already know this. Is for anybody who's watching this video. So pillar number 1, education. If you don't, these are the 3. I give this terrible, I'm like the king of bad analogies. The bad analogy is baking a cake. You have to have flour, you have to have sugar, you have to have eggs. I don't know what else you have to have because I don't bake cakes, but there's like essential ingredients that you must have in order to make the cake come out like a cake. Well, there's 3 essential ingredients to be a successful real estate investor. It starts with education, the 6 inches between your ears. You have to know how to structure deals. You have to know how to market. You have to know how to analyze deals. You have to know how to raise private money, so on and so forth. You have to have the education. But what good is all the education in the world if you don't have the system in order to implement it? If you don't have the deal analyzer, if you don't have the purchase and sales agreement, if you don't have the script, if you don't have the CRM, whatever. So that's why pillar number 2 is operating system. This is all of the systems and the software that we use to resource our clients in order to execute what I've taught them in pillar number 1, which is education. So you have education, you have operating system, but you're still going to go out there, and real estate's like the wild, wild west. Ken will attest to this. You're going to go out there and there's going to be something that you need help with. You're going to have a question, a hurdle, an obstacle, an objection from the seller, an issue with title. Well, wouldn't it be nice if you had somebody, a community, that can rally around you, answer your question, provide you support, somebody who's been where you want to be, who can successfully take you and navigate you through that problem. That's why pillar number 3 is our support pillar. So I have 2 questions for you, Ken, now that our listeners have an understanding of the 3 pillars of REI Automated. Which one of those pillars did you initially sign up for? I think I already know the answer to it. Which one did you initially sign up for? And then second question is, which one have you gotten the most value out of?
I want to say the education. So, I've been in it long enough, and some people may say, well, you got to know what you're doing, right? You've been in it 20 plus years
20
in real
years.
estate. Yeah.
Yeah.
And 12 years flipping properties. And if you do the math, that was before, right? Actually, I was flipping properties in 07, 08. I quit because the margins weren't there. And then I came back and started doing it again. So I've always, I'm one of those guys, I never think I know it all. Like a Mr. Know-it-all. That's where you fail in business. And even when I was doing well, I'm always thinking, what is there a better way? Is there a better way? And right when Zach came along, it just clicked. I'm like, oh, there's your better way right there. Give it a try. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but you got to give it a try.
Yeah.
But the education I learned, so I've been a buying, flipping, cash, buy, flip. I've been doing it for, over a decade now. But the education I got from all these other methods, of how to buy these properties. In fact, one of the deal that I took on, was that we closed on was not one I would normally buy and flip, to be honest with you, because the margins was real tight. And I'm glad it wasn't a buy flip because it didn't work out like I thought it did. But the Sub2 was what saved me.
Yep.
So that's why that deal makes sense now. And when you buy and flip, you lose money on taxes and other things that the gains and whatnot. So buy and hold, that's in my pocket now. I picked up one that before REI Automated, I picked up one that I was gonna flip, and now I'm doing the rental. So now I have 2-3 different things. The one that I got, the Sub2, we plan on doing a wrap. You know what I mean? So now I have more tools in my pocket versus just buy and flip. Because buy and flip is not always, like I said, I've seen the ups and downs, up and down. It's not very consistent. You know what I mean? If you go through a whole year and you don't have any good flips, how do you make money? Right? But if you're making money off of mortgages, you're making money off of rents, then it works. Then you have more than one way to make money. And that's what I learned through the education process.
Yeah. That's a huge testament to, I feel like I'm fairly emotional about money and about business. Just as a man, like I'm fairly emotional. And so when you're riding this roller coaster of business, you have money. We've had multiple 6-figure months. And then the very next month, you're losing $30,000-$40,000 because that's your overhead.
Right.
That's just overhead. That's not even doing a bad deal. That's just your overhead.
Yep.
And this is immensely problematic when you're riding a roller coaster, and when things are good, you're good, and when things are bad, you're bad. As the leader of a company, you can't be bad. People are relying on you to be on your game. And so it doesn't cut out the volatility of the active income of flipping houses, but what it does is it lowers, I mean, it raises the tide, if you will, of how much money is coming in. So rather than your floor being zero, I don't have
It's a
any
little higher.
passive
Correct.
income coming in. Well, now I
Yeah.
have $8,000. Now I have $15,000, whatever, coming in per month. And so you still have the waves, if you will, on the top of the volatility of the flipping, but you're no longer dipping into the negatives.
The dip's not as bad. Correct.
Yeah. So we can withstand that on a physical, like a monetary level. We can withstand the test of time of weird market cycles, as well as emotionally we don't get burnt out as fast when we have the sense of security of checks coming in every month. That's what keeps you alive. And I would venture to say that success is inevitable for every single person who's trying to get out there. If I'm speaking to you, who's trying to get out there and start a real estate investing business, success is inevitable so long as you do not quit or get taken out. And one bad deal can take you out. And so having some passive income really, really, really helps you weather the storm.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah,
cool.
That's 100% true.
Embracing that emotional side that I was just talking about, how do you feel compared to before? How do you feel now, knowing what you know in real estate? If you could label it with a word or a phrase.
I'll be honest with you. When you go into these other, I've heard of creative financing and things like that, but it never dawned on me because I was a buyer flipper. We bought with cash and we sold it. We bought with cash and we sold it, and taking on people's mortgage and stuff like that was never, on my mind, or as a way to make money.
Right.
So for me, when I approach a deal now, instead of just looking at it 70% rule minus repair, it's a little different. There's more aspect of that, other ways you can make money with these deals that I would typically normally walk away from. So if you can say, if I had 20 deals and I only took 10 before I did REI Automated, now there's a chance I'll probably take 15 of those properties. Whereas before, those 5 I would just let go because the numbers didn't work for a flip.
Yep.
So that is very valuable, I think, because you only need so many of those, like you said, and it would help brace the bottom of the tide. The dip wouldn't be so bad if you had other sources of income from properties that you would normally walk away from.
That's right. That's exactly right. And to give you another bad analogy, we're talking about tools. You're talking about tools. So let's think about a flipper. What sort of tools does a contractor have? Well, if he only's got one tool, if the only tool that you know is cash entrance, MLS exit, let's say there's 2 tools. So I have a Phillips head screwdriver and I have a hammer. How good are you at your job of renovating this house? You suck. You're irrelevant, basically. You have to have a tape measure. You have to have a saw. You have to have a drill. You have to have a whole slew. You have to have a trailer of tools. And now you know how not just to buy it with cash, but owner financing, subject to its underlying mortgage, a hybrid of both, not just MLS exit of flipping, but wholesaling and novations and lease options and owner finance wraps and renting. There's a plethora of different tools. And so now you are more equipped with these tools. And that's part of, what our education provides is nobody's a one-trick pony in REI.
Correct. You can't be. If you only know one trick and then that trick doesn't work, then you're out, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Actually, when I came on REI Automated and I learned about, because I've heard of hard money lending and private investors. I have a business partner, but we never went out and tried to get more money. And I passed up on deals. I remember when we was maxed out, like great deals. I'm like, well, we're maxed out. We're not taking on this deal. Man, there was one like literally down the road. And when I saw what that sucker sold for and I could have picked that up, that hurt,
dude. Just kill you?
Dude, the margins on that one was $250,000, one flip, man. And I remember when this one hit the market, I was maxed out. We had 6, 7 properties going at the same time, renovating them. We just didn't have the cash to go and pick this one up. But if I had known about maybe I can just get some hard money lending, how to get that, and then, get this little project rolling. I mean, the opportunity on that one, I mean, you figure out, one flip was literally 250,000. I know the investor made 250,000 on that flip, one
Yes.
flip. So
Dude, so think about this. Manny Fernandez, one of our clients, just came to me yesterday. He said, "Hey, I'm buying this it's an apartment complex actually for $2 million. And it needs about four, I think, for renovations, all in at 6. Guess what it's worth? Fixed up.
you said he got at 2 million and he needs 400 renovation. I hope he's worth 3.5 to 4, right?
18 million.
No. What?
18 million. He goes, "Do you know anybody who will fund this?" I go, "Manny, bro, everybody will fund it." We're no longer looking at this. Is this a bad deal? Is this a good deal? Now we're just like limited by how many people have $6 million that they can put into funding this deal, because the answer is unequivocally yes. And
Yeah.
so never let funding hold you back. We have so many good lenders in our group. I did a quick like little net worth audit, if you will, of just some of the bigger people who are in the group, and we have well over $100 million of net worth, just personal net worth. We're not even talking about bringing in the lender, because some of our lenders are backed with hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the people that I know what their net worth is, because we talk very openly in our circles. There's more than $100 million of personal net worth represented in REI Automated. Your deals will get funded. And then in
Yeah.
addition to that, we have private money lenders, we have hard money lenders, that all give our group just outstanding rates. Why? Because they know that you're good for the money. They know that you have the right education, you have the right systems to take it from contract to close, and that you're going to get the support that you need. God forbid if anything bad goes down. Okay, get into this deal. I know nothing
All
about
right.
it. Nate told me, "Hey, Ken just did a killer deal. I want you to ask him some questions about it."
The
I
one we
haven't,
just got on the contract?
I haven't prepped you for it at all. So
No,
I'm
I'm
totally
trying to
shocked.
figure which one you're talking about. Go
I don't
ahead.
know. Did you recently close a deal?
So we did I did the one that was sub 2 about 3 weeks ago. We closed on that one. That was a sub 2 deal in
Let's talk about
Douglasville.
that one. Let's talk about the one that you actually did.
Okay. So that one would have been one I probably would have walked away from if it was a flip.
Okay.
And my instinct was correct. We just cleared 20 dumpsters of trash out of this house. $400 of them. Where we got
40
$8,000
yards?
worth of
40-yard dumpsters?
well, we had a couple 30s and mostly 20s.
Okay.
But we
Okay.
20
Oh,
but
I
20
mean, like,
dumpsters. 20.
that's
The most I've ever had up to now
insane.
was 12, 10 or 12.
Yeah.
We're
And
at
that's a
20.
lot.
It is. It's a ton. So we had some 30 yards, some 20 yards. Unfortunately, the dumpster company I was using that gave me the best rate was actually more in the 20 yards. So they gave me a better rate, and it came out the same.
Okay.
20 yards came out to a 60 yard. I mean, two 30-yard dumpsters. So it came out the same price. But yeah,
Okay.
we finally dropped off number 20, and I'm praying that will be the last dumpster we drop off. Well, it probably won't, because we're still doing a little renovation over there. But maybe 21
Okay.
dumpsters.
Wait, have you already sold it?
No. So we took the property.
Wait, let's
Uh,
start at the beginning. So how'd you find the deal?
Actually, another agent came to me.
Okay.
So I've
All
been
right.
buying and
Referral.
selling for, like I said, for some time, and I've always had great relationship with agents because they know that I'm good for it. Like if I say, "Hey, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
buy a
yeah, yeah.
property, I'm gonna buy it." So he came to me and he said, "I got a friend. She needs to sell this property. Her ex-husband passed away, and she's next to
Mhm.
kin, so she gotta get rid of it." So I showed up and I didn't negotiate any numbers. I didn't say any numbers. I just took a look at what the property looks like, and then the seller really, I guess the ex-wife, she was really destroyed by how bad the property, the condition, well, mostly the hoarding. So she said, "Look, you can just have the property." I said, "You can
Okay,
have it."
so tell me the key numbers here. What is ARV?
Well, so the value of the property is around 350 to 375.
Okay, and how much was the
Um,
mortgage
right at 200.
and repairs?
If I fully fix the property, I would probably have about 60, 70 grand in it.
How much are
Well,
you actually going to do? Probably
I'm
50.
not going to do that much. So instead of trying to renovate it and flip it, we're just going to trash it out, do some minor renovation, like, probably less than 20, 25 grand, and
Oh,
then
wow,
do
good.
owner financing on it. I had
Sweet.
350, 375.
Oh, yes. Okay. So ARV 375, mortgage 200, repairs $25,000 or less. Any arrears?
We found there was a lien on the property, which I'll pay off. It's $15,000 that
Okay.
we found out at closing, which is fine, no big deal.
We can talk about this offline, but I can help you negotiate that typically to 30-40% of the value.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Okay, great. So even, I mean, my God, even with $15,000, and then the sellers walk away, she
Well,
threw
I had to give her something. I didn't want her to walk away with nothing. So I gave
sure.
her 2,500. I did
Okay,
end up paying
great.
because she was the ex-wife and some of the paperwork wasn't done right. We had to go to probate. So I ended up paying for probate. So before we went to closing, I had probate and then I gave her 2,500. I paid the agent's commission of 4% on the
Okay.
200. So I gave $8,000 away in commission. And this is, this is one of those things, like I said, it's cost of doing business. And now
Yeah.
he's actually working on more. And he's a elderly gentleman, has all his clients are older and so he's like, if anything goes wrong, anybody needs to sell the house, he comes to me first, right? Because he
Yeah,
knows I'm good
that's
for it.
right.
He didn't even go to closing. I brought him his check. That's how good I am. I
Right.
delivered the check to him at the Waffle House where he
I
bought me breakfast.
love it. How much
So
how much cash did you need in order to close on the house just to control it?
so right now we're at 4,500. I did start covering the mortgage because she didn't have it made no sense for her to pay the mortgage if she was going to give it to me. So I started
Okay.
covering the mortgage, which paid down some of the principal by the time we took over.
Mhm.
But that aside, 4,500 plus we'll negotiate the lien 2,500 for her, which puts it at 7, and then 8 for the agent. So about 15,000
15 grand.
plus the
Man.
dumpsters and repairs. So I'll probably be 35, 40 in it.
Well,
Um,
but just to control the asset, like cash at close, I'm trying to show the power of buying
oh,
this
okay, I got you. I
subject
got you.
to,
Yeah,
right? So
cash at
if
close.
we were to just cash entrance, my God, you're
12 grand.
two
Yeah,
hundred
yeah.
and $20,000 into it.
Yeah, correct. About 20 grand. And then we took over the note at 3.75. So her PIT, I was like $1,100 a month. Yeah. So hopefully if we wrap it at a
Oh,
good
you'll
decent
cash
rate, we
flow
should
$1,000 roughly.
1,700. Yeah, about 15 to $1,700 a month.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
the mortgage on a 350 minus 10% is right at 26, 2,700.
What's the interest rate on the underlying?
6.5. Oh, the 3.75. I know. That's why that's why the deal. See,
I
before
remember
this,
this deal. I remember
yeah,
this.
but before this, I would have been like, I don't even care what the interest is because I'm not paying the note. I'm just gonna buy
Right.
it outright. I would have paid the mortgage off
No.
and all that good stuff. So now the deal works better. So I'll collect all of our money back that we put into the house, and then we'll just collect interest,
What are
15 to
you going
17.
to what are you going to owner finance out? What is the interest rate that you're thinking you're going to owner finance out?
I'm nice. I'm nice. So I was looking at market rate of 6.5 to seven
Oh my
percent at
gosh.
10
Okay.
to 15% down, and that still was like $2,600 a month.
Yeah, so I just pulled up my financial calculators, 24.95. So let's just call it $2,500 is coming in. And how much is the underlying mortgage?
With PITI about 1,100.
So, take out the TI.
Oh, it's like 600.
So you have 2,500 coming in. This may be the best wrap I've ever seen, Ken. You have 2,500 coming in, PI, just
All right.
principal. For anybody who's not understanding, we need to compare apples and
Not including
apples to
insurance and
apples.
taxes. Correct.
So PI is just principal and insurance, interest, and then
Correct.
TI is taxes and insurance. And so if the underlying
Correct.
note is $1,100, and that's PI, TI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, we have to take off that taxes and insurance because what's coming in to Ken is only principal and interest, which is
Correct.
$2,500. It's $2,495.
Correct.
We're just rounding $5 up to $2,500. And then your PI is $600.
A little over 600, like 650.
Dude, this is 1,900. Call it 650, and then round. It's $1,800 per month net
Correct.
cash flow, and they will owe you 350.
Correct. Well, it'll be depending on the price with 350 to 375. They're gonna put 10% down, so about 330, around
They owe
330.
you 330. You owe the bank 200. So
Correct.
there's equity of $130,000
Correct.
in this deal. Fan freaking tastic. That's the biggest cash flow I think I've seen it in at
And
least.
normally I probably would have walked away because that house to fully renovate it,
Oh,
to flip it, the margins would have been really tight. And I'm glad I didn't go down that route because, man, those dumpsters are killing me.
Yeah, man. Wow, this is really good. All right, so sub 2 entrance, exit strategy, owner finance. From I know you haven't sold it yet, but how close are you to getting it all finished up, prettied up, enough to list it?
So we've had guys working out there. I should have everything put back together within the next month.
Okay. When
Eh,
did you buy it? How many months ago?
about 3 weeks ago.
Not even a month. So total turnaround time is going to be 2 months. Not That's not true. Let me suck that back in. You still have to let it sit on the market. So days on market, we don't really know what it is. We should suspect that it's going to take 45, 60 days, something like that, and then an additional
Okay.
30 days to close.
Correct.
What is the town that this is in?
So it's in Douglasville. It's about 20 minutes from Atlanta.
Oh,
Plenty of population is
great.
really high. So it's not, I don't foresee it being an issue.
It won't even
Um,
be, it won't be, I said 2 months. I'm going to retract that. I think it's going to be less than 1 month. So you're
yeah.
going to be in and out of this deal in 4 months. What a great payday.
Yep. And then,
That's
like I said, it would have been one I probably would have maybe not approached or do because the amount of work and what I was going to get back was not one of the ones I like to. After you do
yeah,
this long enough, you want the easy ones. Like the lazy,
that's
easy
right.
ones,
A
right?
little
The paint the
spoiled.
floor, a little paint, call it a day, which
Yeah.
we've done, we still do. But this would have been for what it was worth. I didn't know it was worth the trouble.
Mhm.
So doing it this way, it is worth the trouble.
Were there any challenges that you had besides the dumpsters with this?
So I mean, there's a little flooring that hardware flooring buckled a little bit from the refrigerator line coming in there. The house is not updated, but I've been doing long enough. I know how to get it updated
Whatever,
relatively
it's
cheap.
fine.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's not a nothing we haven't done before that's gonna keep
Okay,
me up. So
great. If you had to pick one biggest learning lesson from this deal, what would it be?
man, look at that sub 2, and if they'll give you that sub 2, especially at 3.75 or
Yeah,
even 4%, because this was only available what
you're set
four or
for
five
life.
years. Yeah,
You're set.
3, 4 years ago. And now, if you get in one of those and it's a win-win,
Yeah,
you
for
know.
sure. Cool. Tell me
But
about
it
the
also helped me, and I'm gonna add this in there too. It also helped me on my real estate side as an agent as well. I was able to get one of my buyer a house where I made the seller owner financed him at 0% interest.
good.
So it helped me all the way around all my other
For
stuff as
sure.
well. So yeah.
For sure. That's actually something that I'm having people actively do in REI Automated right now, which is approach realtors. And you know me, I hate working with realtors, dude. I hate it. But there's so much opportunity right now. If you just go, anybody who's watching this, as long as it's the year 2025, 26, or 27, because I anticipate this being a thing for a couple of years, go to Zillow, pull up houses for sale in whatever town or city that you live in, and just see how many say price reduced.
Hmm.
It is There's more houses that say price reduced than houses that don't say price reduced. I'll just say that right now. As of this month, in my area at least, there's more houses that say price reduction. And why is that? Because they can't sell. The market cannot bear this price. You have all these people who want to sell up here, and you have a ton of people who want to buy. Problem is that the interest rates are so high they can't handle the monthly payment. So either these folks need to make more money, interest rates need to come down so that they can afford more. These people need to sell for lower. But the fact of the matter is, houses are sitting because there's such a huge gap between what buyers want to sell for and what sellers want to
I
sell
don't
for,
want to sell
and
for.
buyers want to buy for.
Gotcha.
And so what needs to happen is we need to get creative. And so I'm teaching our folks in REI Automated. I just spent an hour and 40 minutes today teaching folks how to do this. How do you approach a realtor and pitch the realtor on proposing terms to their client?
Hmm.
Objectively, there's one best way of doing this, and it's by showing them the numbers, right? Let's like throw emotions out of this. Let's show the numbers. I can't get a DSCR loan because it would be a predatory loan, right? The DSCR stands for debt service coverage ratio loan. So in the name, it's debt service coverage. If I cannot even cover the debt service when I rent it, they ain't gonna lend to me. It would be considered a
Right.
predatory loan. And so like let's figure out how to do this. Well, in an effort of getting an offer in front of your client, let's say, what if we did this? And then we propose terms with a a really good price and a really good down payment. And then terms for the next 5 to 6 years with a balloon at the end, we'll balloon it out with the DSCR loan. And man, people are deal. We had, oh God, today we had about $350,000 of deals brought to the table. Monday, there was more than $250,000 just represented across 4 deals that people brought to the table. And then on Friday, last week on Wednesday, Friday was a special event. We had more than $250,000. Like, people are raking in deals because it is creative financing.
Mm-hmm.
So powerful. Let me ask you this. We'll end on this because I realize that we're getting short on time. For anybody who is on the fence, Ken, about signing up for REI Automated, maybe talk to your past self, if you will, where you were before. What would you say to somebody who's on the fence about REI Automated? Maybe they've just talked to me or they're about to have a call. Is it worth taking the leap? What would your words be to them?
I would say getting into this business of real estate, buying, flipping, or even Sub2, going at it without proper information is dangerous. You can lose your savings. You can lose you can lose a lot. You can lose your friend's saving, your family saving. I've had situations where I've sold properties to other investors that didn't know what they were doing. And unfortunately, they end up foreclosing on the loan. The repairs end up being high. You really need the education, and you need somebody to help you. You know, um, if you're the one that's taking someone's money, you're responsible for their money. You need to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And going at it willy-nilly because you saw it on HGTV is not the way to do it. And I think a lot of people who start off that way without the proper education, they end up burning themselves and they get out of business as soon as they come in.
Yeah.
Fortunately, because I was in real estate before, I knew numbers, and numbers was what saved me. I knew what values the property were. Agents couldn't agents and sellers and everybody else couldn't push numbers on me because I knew what the numbers were. This is what I did for a living.
Right.
So without that background, I would have been probably in a ton of trouble as well, you know. But having a system or a group of people to help you really means a lot, especially when you have, think about it, if you get in trouble, who do you call? Especially if you have no one.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
walked into a bad deal and now how do you get out of it? You get 1, 2 bad advice and now you're out of the game as soon as you come in. So I think education and learning what to do and how to do things is more important, really. I think the first step before even trying to go get a deal,
Yeah. Absolutely.
because once you're in the deal, sometimes you can't get out of it. So like I said, I had no problem jumping in REI Automated because I know the value of education. And like I said, there's an opportunity for you to do well if you have the proper education and the support. And
Right.
even as long as I've been doing it, I'm never the one that says I know it all, and I've learned a lot from you guys. The CRM was totally brand new, never did that. So I have no idea what a CRM was. And, when Zach said, I got a CRM, I said, no clue what you just talked about, man. But I probably want one of those too. So yeah, it really makes it easier now. When I look at deals, I have more ways, like I said, than one way to make money. But from someone who's new, I would say it's hard to do this out the blue. Like going out there and getting money and putting your credit and your family's money on the line and trying to do real estate like this is pretty risky if you don't know what
Yeah.
you're doing. So I would say I've seen the goods and the bad of real estate. I've seen people came in, I've seen them lose their friends' money and everybody else's money in between, church people's money.
Yep.
And these people think that you know what you're doing when you really don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you think you got a deal when you really don't have a deal. And then everybody, you're not hurting just yourself, you're hurting other people around you, especially when you're taking someone else's money as well. So
Having the right education quite literally is step 0. Before you do anything,
correct.
You got to get it up here. That's step
Yeah.
0. Then you put systems in place. Then you get the right support. Those 3 things. You have the right education, you have the right system, you have the right support. You have the winning formula to success.
Yep. Right.
Cool. Ken, you are so deserving. There is nobody better to get an $1,800 check every single month.
Man, I wouldn't have done. I can tell you, if it wasn't for REI Automated, I wouldn't have been trying to get $1,800 a month for the next. And see, I'll be honest with you, I was sitting there doing the interest, and I actually did owner financing on my personal rental that I had about 3-4 months ago, which I never would have done. But I had a house that I put on the market; it wouldn't sell, and instead of reducing the price, I offer owner financing.
Yes. Oh,
and
yes.
and I was able to get full asking price, pay the agent who brought
Terms.
the buyer. Yep.
Yep.
I got all my money back that I ever, well, actually I didn't. I rented out for years. I've never paid a dollar into the property, to be honest with you. So
Yes.
I got all that money up front, and then, the buyer has a 30-year note that, she's welcome to refi or whatever, no big deal. But in the meantime, I got money coming in every month, so it helped. But yeah, before this, I probably wouldn't have even tried to do any of that.
What is the unpaid principal balance on the note?
Well, I'll be honest. What I did was I bought it lower 15 years ago on a 15-year note. I lived there for less than a year. Then I put tenants in there, and I had one tenant that stayed there for 13 years on Section 8. It paid my mortgage every month, so I never had to worry about
Absolutely. Fantastic.
13 years. One tenant, man, one tenant.
That's
Um,
good.
it was so good. I mean, she would replace faucets for me if it was broken. She wouldn't even call me. That's how
Wow.
good the tenant was. So 15 years down the line, the mortgage gets paid off on its own.
Good.
I had the money coming in, it paid the note. So I really didn't pay on the note. The tenant did.
Sure,
I
sure,
bought
sure.
it at 142,
When you sold it, what'd you sell it for?
310. I bought it for 142 15 years ago. Yeah.
What'd they put down?
They gave me 150 grand. Yeah, they gave me 150. And then I financed the other 150 at 7%.
Wow.
It was 7% because that was the going rate 3 months ago. Yeah,
That's wild. So now you have $1,000 per month
correct.
coming into
Yep.
this.
Just PI. Yep. Just PI
And
is $1,000 a month.
by the way, the total amount that they'll pay on that mortgage is $360,000.
$60,000. I know. I ran the numbers. I don't know if she'll hold on to it for that long, but hey, that on top of the 150, that puts it over right over $500,000 for a property I've
Yeah.
literally paid 8 months worth of mortgage on when I bought it, and the rest of the time my tenant's been paying on it. So
Dude,
I didn't have a good cash flow. Like it wasn't like I
you're
was making
printing
500.
money, Ken.
Well, I
I
wouldn't
could
say
not be
that, but
more proud.
I learned that, like Section 8 was one of the best way to rent that property,
Yes.
especially where it was located. And at the very end, I want to say I was cash flowing about $500 a month because Section 8 they increased the rent
Mm-hmm.
with the market, but my
Mm-hmm.
mortgage stayed the same.
Yep.
But yeah, it worked out on that one.
Dude, half $500,000 deal. It does not get any better than that.
Like it took 15 years to get there to be on that.
Sure. But it was totally passive. That's what I love about real estate.
And then I want to say, I'm not trying to brag. 2 months ago, I picked up a property from the same agent who got me the other one that I was up to. He came, this guy comes to me for everything. Great guy. He goes, "Hey Ken, would you take this from one of my ladies? She has about 50 properties and a tree fell on it. Insurance going to give her the money, but she don't want to mess with it." I said, "Well, give me the numbers of what she wants." So I bought the property. I took title to it. The next week I sold it to a wholesale, an investor, paid 40 grand, and he's fixing it. And he's going to make about 50, 60. And I'm actually helping him because he is one of his first one. I said, "Dude, kind of like a friend of a friend." So I said, "I'll help you get through it," because he was like, "Man, I don't know how to." I said, "I'll tell you what, this is going to be flipping 101, and I'm doing you a huge favor because by the time I teach you how to do this, I could have done the whole thing myself."
Oh my God.
So he'll make about 50, 60 grand, and he'll be happy to do it again. So everybody wins on that one.
I love you.
I try to be nice. I try to be nice. I even ran him the numbers. I even showed him the comp, and he says, "Look, Ken, when I get this thing renovated, you're gonna be my agent." I said, "That's fine."
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna help list the property for him and everything.
Good. So then you'll make another $15,000.
No, 1,000 ain't even 200.
Oh, it's a little,
grand, 4 or 5,000.
Right.
I got it for like 40. He bought it for 80, and it's worth like 180.
Nice.
I didn't have the energy to go in and
No, I don't
deal with that one. So I just took what I can get and move on.
Is that the deal that you were saying oh no, this isn't even including the deal that you said you just got under contract?
No, that's another one. That one's as is about 225.
Okay.
It's not a great deal. Carol, because it's local, everything's local. So I went out there and spoke with the seller. I offered to help her either, get rid of the house one way or the other. And one of the way was I just buy it off of her and she moves to Kentucky. They already have a property they already bought. Cool. And so that one's only 225 as is. I could probably get 275, 280 fixed up, but the renovation costs are going to eat all that up because it's an outdated house, but it's well maintained. Okay. But I know for a fact I could put on the market for 225. It'll be gone within 30 days. Mm-hmm. So we're picking that one up at 160. So 40, yeah. 40,000, help her out a little bit. She doesn't. She's been beaten down by investors as well, and she's like, "Well, all your numbers are the same." I said, "We all run off the same formula." She's like, "Well, that's all they're offering." And I said, "Look, if I can try to help you a little bit, but there's only so much I can do because I gotta make sure I'm not gonna be in the the red. So
Yeah.
so we put it on a contract, I want to say 2 days ago. I
Okay.
wired over my $50 earnest money to make sure we're solid contract with my local
I
title company.
love
So
it.
we're supposed to close it next month. Sometimes I've gave her some flexibility because I'm not in a rush and I'm not doing it. Literally, I'm not doing anything to this one. I've already seen the
Yeah,
property. I know what, like I'm selling it as is, kind of sort of. I'm not
dude.
worried about it. It's just put on the market.
So, man, I just want to speak to like the deal that you bought. We've talked about a lot of deals, right? The deal that you bought off of Zach, you made $60,000 off of. This one that you wholesaled, you made $40,000 off of this one. That one, this one that you're talking about right now, you're gonna make $40,000 off the renovation. This one that you bought X amount of years ago, you owner finance out, you $500,000 deal.
And
Like
remember, you talked me into keeping that rental too. You forgot about that one?
this, man. That's
You
right.
because I remember I was on the phone with you and you
That's
said,
a
man,
big deal too. I remember that one.
yeah, that one, that repair on that one's nuts.
What is going to be the cash flow on that one? I just remember that the cash flow is amazing.
About 3,500 a month
30 net, right?
net. Yep, after paying off. So we're gonna DSCR it, and then we're gonna make about 3,500 a month.
Just with those two, 3,500 plus 8, that's $5,300 per month.
Yep. And I
Net
was gonna flip
profit.
it, and I was gonna flip that one
Oh, what a
and make,
mistake.
yeah. But after talking to you, you're like, dude, just DSCR, and I already got one tenant in one of them. The other
Oh,
two, I'm
beautiful.
gonna, but yeah, we're gonna do pretty good on that one. So
Good.
not too much buy and flip no more, right? So we change our
No,
buying and
no.
flip strategy to
Here's the
wholesale
thing.
to everything else.
Yeah, there's a season for everything, right? There's a season to do the fix and flip and wholesale, but the season that we're in right now, when you have a depreciating
Correct.
market, days on market is up, interest is high, things are extending. It's not the time to wholesale. It's not the time
Right.
to fix and flip. Now is the time while things are falling. Now is the time to, we hear the age-old saying, buy low, sell high. Well, if it's low right now and it's going down, we should be accumulating assets as fast as possible. And if you choose to sell it later on to capture those gains, fine, so be it.
Correct.
But when do you make your money? You made it on the buy side. And more importantly, not at the price that you bought it, it's price and terms.
Right.
Buying these with creative financing at, for example, 3.75%. My goodness sakes, you're set for the next 26 years or however much left is.
Yeah, she has about 25, 26 years left on that note.
Oh, that is free money. The inflation is 8%, right? Or whatever freaking statistic you want to look at right now. If inflation is 8%, the mortgage is 3.75%. You're literally, it's not even keeping up
Just
with
the inflation, correct? Just the inflation to make your money.
It's negative.
Yeah.
That money is free money. It's actually making you money. Oh my goodness. I could go on and on about creative financing. It's so awesome. I love the power of a financial calculator.
And see, all those deals would have been flip deals. If I didn't know how to do them, I would have just flipped them or, move on to next. So
good stuff, dude. Thanks for sharing all those deals. Thanks for your encouragement. I just love you to
you're
death.
welcome,
You're awesome,
man.
You are an inspiration.
Remember, I don't remember SKU numbers. I remember prices of things, not
That's
SKU
right.
number. I call and yell at my rep. What happened? We was only paying $15 last week. Now it's $17.50. Are you crazy?
Tell you what, this guy has Home Depot memorized. If you ask him what
we buy enough of the
goes,
same. We buy enough of the same stuff and use the same stuff that, yeah, I gotta keep an eye on that stuff.
Yeah, for sure, man. Ken, congrats to all your success, bro.
Thank you.
Of that.
Thank you. You guys helped. Like I said, it wasn't none of those. Those had all been flip deals if it wasn't for you guys.
Yeah, good. Thank you for saying that. I'm glad we can make a positive impact. All right, brother. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.